going on, guys? It's Thursday night. It is 6 o'clock Central Standard Time. You'll see Brad over there. I'm Banker. This is Lifted Live. But today we're having a little three-way. Tonight we have Josh from Trailbuilt here.
Wait, what? You didn't tell me about it.
Yeah. So you're gonna sit in the middle.
As long as
surprise.
that's all I have to do.
You have to watch the pizza.
Yeah, you're the pizza man.
Yeah.
You
can't touch it though because Corona. Can't touch it.
Oh.
We're invisibly 6 feet apart. So you guys have been asking a lot of questions about off-road stuff, and we just so happen to have an off-road division, which is Trailbuilt, which is Josh's baby. So Josh, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, Trailbuilt,
Sure.
and what you guys do, what you're all about.
Yeah, so a little bit about myself. Josh from Trailbuilt, and we had originally, Sean Chartier, owner of Custom Offsets, came to my buddy Brent, who works in the shop back here. Maybe you guys have seen him already. Actually, they were out on a 90-day lunch, and the idea had come up. Brent had brought it up about starting an off-road company, and so that went from a conception into what is now a reality. So after their lunch, they decided that we needed somebody to kind of run the ropes and that has some off-road experience and get Trailbuilt off the ground. So about a year and a half ago, we sat down, we figured out a name, and
Figured out
a lot of names.
There was
yeah.
a lot of names
Yeah,
originally.
there was a lot of names.
Hi.
We settled on a lot of
Oh,
names
hi,
too.
honey.
And then those names fell through.
Yeah.
And then
Well, what happened so we had the name Trailbuilt. However, there was some confusion with the lawyers thinking that it was like another wheel company, which conflicted with another company out there, which obviously we're not just a wheel company. So we had to come up with a different name, and then found out that Trailbuilt was available. So that's how we ended up with the name. And I remember I was sending a bunch of different names to Sean, and he hated all of them, which, not surprisingly, with the names that I had originally had, or that Brent and I actually were throwing at Sean. And so Sean was like, we should have something with at least trail in the name. And it was just one day it hit me, just like Trailbuilt. So
what makes Trailbuilt different from Custom Offsets?
well, the biggest differentiator is the fact that our builds are, and I might hurt some of your feelings, our builds are more functional over show.
Oh.
Yeah, so
What are you talking about? K350 is a very functional off-road. We use it off-road pretty much its whole life.
I literally made
yeah,
it.
it's been
almost
off the road sitting in
Yes.
the shop.
I made it almost 10
It's
feet
spent
into
its
snow.
life.
Almost 10 feet?
Almost 10 feet into
Yeah,
snow.
I watched that video.
It leaks like an off-roader.
Do you even have that thing geared down? I mean, it's... No, I didn't think so. So... Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
So anyways, the thing that sets us apart is, we'd like the smaller wheels, 17s, 18s, 20s maybe, and larger tires to get what I always like to say, more meat on the bones, more functionality over form. Those are the two biggest things that set us apart.
Yeah, so Trailbuilt caters more towards the off-roader, the adventurer, the guy who likes to go hunting, fishing, camping, the overland crowd, people who like to build their trucks catered towards off-road rather than show.
To actually use them, yeah.
Brad, I just want to bring it up that this week they're complaining that we're not eating pizza, when every other week they complain that we're eating pizza on camera.
I think I had 2 pieces before we went live, and now I'm already like, I'm kind of full. I don't even really want to eat a piece of pizza right now. It's right there.
Yeah.
So Josh, eat a piece.
Well, I mean, okay. I am a little hungry. I only had 1 piece.
All right, so we introduced Josh, Banker. Now what?
So we talked about kind of what Trailbuilt does. Josh, what's your main demographic then for Trailbuilt?
Oh, I'm spilling a bunch of sauce here. That's right.
Yeah, watch out with the garlic.
What's your main
The garlic
demographic?
sauce will get away from you.
You guys have a YouTube, right?
Yeah, yep. We have a YouTube, Trailbuilt Off-Road. We have, the Instagram, Trailbuilt Off-Road.
So you guys are going to want to go out and follow Trailbuilt Off-Road on the YouTube.
Yeah.
See some cool stuff. I know they've jumped Brent's K5 Blazer a couple times.
Yeah.
There's a few videos of your Scout. Before
There's a really cool video of an Escalade.
Cadillac Brad's Escalade. on 40-inch Mickey Thompson Pro XSs. I mean, it is pretty sweet.
Everybody asks about Brad's Escalade. That is where you're going to find Brad's Escalade, out on Trailbuilt, because that is our off-road division.
Yeah, check out their YouTube channel.
Yeah, that is our demographic. You know, the off-road enthusiasts. You know, the ones that want to, you know, take the rigs, build them up, go take them to the trails, have some adventure, have some fun, conquer some obstacles. You know, not only that, not only the trail guys, but you know, I mean, it expands all the way into the overlanding group, into even the new soft-roading group.
Is that a thing?
Yeah,
that's what it's called.
Becoming more popular. I'd never heard of it until
soft-roading?
2 months ago, maybe, when Fuller was building his.
Sounds like a lot of Jeep people here.
Yeah. Did the audio pick that up?
Very soft.
You said that very quietly.
Yeah, I'm a soft-roader.
Yeah, so that, you know,
so
overlanding, soft-roading, and then it even evolves into like some of the Ultra 4 racers, you know, the wheels and tires especially. Like right now we're doing a race line giveaway. They have their 232 Monster beadlocks, which kick ass, and of course we have Method and their beadlocks, their whole line, and KMC, XD, and a whole bunch of others, and tires, Traxxas, Nitto, Toyo, I mean the whole work. So it's all geared around that, you know, 37 and up, basically 35 inch and up tire size ratio. So,
and you guys have some pretty cool stuff on your website too. You got bumpers, you have winches, you have armor, you have axles, gearing, all that kind of stuff you can get right on Trailbuilt.
That's correct. Yep. Yeah. If you go to the accessories tab, you can find. I mean, we do have recovery gear, bumpers. There's winches. There's we have Terraflex replacement axles, heavy duty like Dana 44 axles. Working on getting a bunch more of accessories onto our website.
Can I keep slowing it down?
Yep.
Yeah. Anyway, okay. I think we got the gist. Trailbuilt, more catered to the off-road enthusiast, but still relatable to custom offsets because we both like modifying vehicles. We're both enthusiasts, so it kind of mixes and matches. And I know like a lot of truck guys, a lot of show truck guys will have Jeeps and stuff that they off-road too, but then they got their nice stuff. So I mean, it kind of at the end of the day can all intermingle a little bit. Some people prefer one over the other, but yeah.
Well, it's very true. You know, you know, I've never been really biased against anybody that loves the automotive world in general. You know, even if it is a show truck and not really like my thing, it's cool to see. It's you know, it would be cool to have, but
yeah. I think the moral is anything that you're into, we've got a website that can help you out.
True.
Yeah, one way, shape, or form, we have some kind of a website that's connected to that proudly.
Definitely.
It's automotive related. Banker, are you going to ask some questions?
Yeah, I want to talk about Trailbuilt a little bit.
We talked about it.
Let him get some questions built up, all right?
There's questions
Brad's
built
getting
up.
antsy over here.
Okay. What are your guys' thoughts on the Ram Rebel TRX?
Wait,
coming out this week.
what's a TRX?
That's like the Hellcat powered off-road Ford Raptor Ram version.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Never even heard of it, so I don't know what to say about it.
I think it's getting
What's the
released
deal
on
with it? Can you tell me
Wednesday or
specs?
something, is it?
I can't tell you any of the specs.
So you don't know about it either?
I don't know much about it. I know what it is, but it's an off-road truck, and that's
So
not
it's a
my
Ram Rebel.
area of expertise.
And the Rebel. Wait, I was thinking of the Power Wagon. Okay, I don't know anything about it. Do you?
It's meant to be
Like a
sort of a
Raptor?
competition of the Power Wagon.
Oh, is it a half ton?
Yes, it's a half ton.
Oh, okay. So it kind of competes with the Raptor?
It competes with the Raptor. It's Ram's
Does it have Fox shocks?
answer to the Raptor. I couldn't tell
What kind of shocks does it have, people? We don't know.
How do I turn on my comments?
I don't know.
Oh, I just punched you in the face, Brad. Oh, there we go.
So Ben is looking for some off-road stuff for his 2020 Ram 2500, but he doesn't see anything.
What does he mean exactly? Like, what is he looking for when you say off-road stuff?
I'm not really sure.
I know. So I know Carly makes some stuff for the 2020 Ram 2500s. There's still not too much stuff out there for those 2020s. They changed like a couple of things on the chassis and suspension, and a lot of manufacturers are still slow to get behind it. Carly has some stuff. They make really nice you know, small lift stuff. They got like a 2-inch system. I believe they have like a 3-inch as well. And the Carly stuff is kind of all meant, it's all about functionality. So they make some nice stuff for those trucks. But like I said, they're still pretty limited out there, unfortunately.
Well, and I would imagine too that a lot of aftermarket support is going to be available if this Ram TRX, this Tremor, is going to be coming out here soon.
Right.
And I'm sure the aftermarket companies are going to want to jump on board and have available aftermarket support for those. Although I don't know if they cross-reference to that 2500 Ram if the Tremor is going to be the half-ton.
Is that what it's called, a Tremor?
Tremor TRX? Yeah.
Anyway,
Thank you. You're supposed to give your input.
what was, I don't even remember what the question was.
You read the question.
Oh, his lift kit for the 2020 Rams?
Yeah.
You
What's up,
covered
Dylan?
it. There's not going to be a whole lot out there for the 2020 Rams. And
Perfect, thanks for your input.
don't look for a off-road kit. A zone kit's not necessarily a show kit, and it's not necessarily an off-road kit, but that's probably all that's going to be available. You're not going to see anything really like from Icon or the actual off-road companies, right?
No, wait a minute. Icon does have stuff for those, I'm pretty sure. I forgot about that. I think Icon does make some Ram 2020 Ram 2500 stuff. And don't quote me on that though. I know they did, and then I think they had to like change it and stuff like that because I think they were trying to use like some of the older parts, and then it didn't work very well, so they had to revise the kit. So I think they do have something now. So that's a good one to look at, and I forgot about it. Icon Vehicle Dynamics.
Yeah.
Otherwise,
Icon's
hang out.
awesome. Yeah.
Stuff will be coming sooner than later.
And if you don't see anything on our site, you can always email us at sales@trailbuiltoffroad.com as well.
Or you can call Josh. I'll give you his phone number.
Brad, Eric Salinas wants to know.
Who?
Eric Salinas.
Don't know.
Will y'all have lift and wheels and tires for the Tesla Cybertruck coming out?
Okay. If they make them, and it's for one of the manufacturers that we already carry, then yes, we will have them. If someone makes something for them and it's a manufacturer that we don't carry, we probably won't, unless we see a demand for it. So it could be a real thing.
Yeah.
This is kind of a joke question, I guess, but
Well, how
if
big
it
is
actually pops off and
Yeah.
becomes a really popular vehicle, then probably yes.
Well, I think that's the question: is what is the demand going to be?
Yeah.
I mean, these manufacturers know that they're producing support for vehicles that are in demand, or most of them.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, there has to be
see.
the demand there, and I don't see that happening. But
I really don't either. I mean, I think a lot of people are going to buy it if it comes to fruition, but I don't think it's going to be a huge seller, at least in the beginning, until it gets out there a little bit in the market, and then
yeah,
See
I
from
think
there.
it'll take a while for people to come around to it.
yeah.
If it hits production. So I knew this question was going to be out there because it happens every time. What's your thoughts on the new Bronco
New Bronco?
in an off-road perspective?
I'm interested to see. You know, for one, I'd be really interested to go and drive one. You know.
So, Ford, I'm sure you're watching. Ford Motor Company.
Yeah, Ford. If a new Bronco shows up here and you need
Trailbuilt
somebody
would love to do a
a
review
video
on
on it, absolutely. So, first things first.
I bet they're watching.
So I'm an International Scout guy. I obviously have one. If you guys didn't already know that, I have a 73 International Scout too. And the first thing I thought of when I seen the Scout was the early version, or Bronco. See, I don't even. First thing I thought of when I seen the Bronco was the early Scout, which Ford guys, Scout came out about 5 years previous to the first Bronco. So that was back in 1961. The first Scout was made for 1961 model year, and then 66 was the first Bronco. And here we are in 2021, and they're making a new Scout.
I don't know. I think it looks like a Bronco. Yeah, everyone says that. It's usually, okay, people who,
The Scout guys are a little like
the Scout and the Jeep guys are just like, it looks like a Scout, because they're like, they want to claim something, but I think it looks like a Bronco. It's a retro throwback to a Bronco.
Yeah, they did a pretty good job designing it. I will give them that.
With that
But we
said-
gotta see what it actually looks like, because
Yeah.
we don't really know what it's actually, the full production model is gonna look
But with
like.
that said, you think about the design of the new Bronco, It looks retro. It looks badass. It's muscular. They did a nice job bringing back that look. I think they kept it pretty similar to what it was back in the day, just with all the modern technology on it, obviously. But you look at like what Chevy did with the Blazer, and it's like that was a complete flop. So Ford stepped it up. They did a nice job. I do definitely like the new Bronco. I think it's pretty badass, and I'd love to try one.
The question was, how do you think it's going to do off-road?
Well, from what we've seen in the videos, I think it should do pretty cool. The only thing that was a little bit disappointing, and I get why they didn't go with a solid front axle, was because you get a little bit better ride quality with the independent front suspension.
I feel like they just didn't want to be called Jeep.
I think
that could be too. Yeah.
I think, well, it's because 97% of the people who buy one are going to take more advantage of what the IFS has to offer than what a solid front axle would have to offer. But I do think that it's going to be probably one of the best IFS SUVs off-road that's ever been made, because they're going to have front and rear lockers, which the only other IFS vehicle, I think, hold on, I'm going to make a bold statement, to ever be factory optioned with front and rear lockers is, I think, a Hummer H3 Alpha. You could get a front and rear locking diff, and that was IFS. I think that was the only one, and the Bronco will be the second one to be ever offered with it. And H3s are turds, so they don't have much to live up to.
The Alpha?
Yeah.
It had 5.3 in it.
Well, yeah, I'm saying like the H3 chassis itself was kind of like a turd.
You got the Trailblazer.
Yeah, exactly. Not very cool.
Doesn't the TRD Pros?
Nope.
They don't have a front locker?
Only rear locker.
Only rear, not front.
Yeah.
It's a rear locker.
Yeah. No front locking diffs.
Okay, so I'm going to pose a question. It's not one of the...
And it has disconnectable sway bars.
Yeah.
So
Which is
cool.
hydraulically controlled too.
Yeah.
So if the front suspension is under load, you'll still be able to
Disconnect
unlock
them, yeah,
or disconnect your sway bar. Yeah. Plus they have like this.
Yeah, it's not like a Jeep where you have to be like on perfectly flat ground. You press the button and then it gives you a warning for 5 minutes, and then it doesn't disconnect, and you drive around again, and then you press it again, and then you hope it works, and then it doesn't work, and then you take it to the dealership, and then they can't fix it, so then you just never unlock it, and then you keep driving.
Well, you gotta put it in neutral, then reverse, then forward, then neutral, then reverse, and then hit the button.
Then you gotta jump out of the car, and then start it, and then restart it, then turn it off. You know.
Which, speaking of that, if your door's open on a Jeep and you have it in drive, it won't move on at least 2018 the newer JLs.
Unless it's in low range.
Oh, see, we didn't test that.
Yeah. That was one thing they talked about. I knew that.
Yeah.
Oh, the Bronco is going to be better than a Jeep off-road, because Broncos have the rear view mirror, the side mirrors are bolted to the fenders, so you can take the doors off and you'll still have mirrors, unlike a Jeep.
That is a good point. Plus,
It's
with the Broncos,
it's definitely going to be better.
You can put your doors in the
They
back
have
cargo area.
Yeah, they have accommodations to keep all the doors in the back of the truck.
Very modular.
Sounds like weight.
Sounds like Ford thought a lot more about this than Jeep. But
Okay, I'm gonna ask you this question. Put away your bias for the Jeeps, right? We know real off-road guys don't like Jeeps.
well, no, I wouldn't say that. A lot of real off-road guys like Jeeps, but
A Wrangler?
nothing on their off-roaders are Jeep anymore. But yeah, go on.
Wrangler IFS or a Bronco with like the shittiest Dana 30 you can put under it.
So like a Jeep.
Yeah.
So yeah, what are you saying? You're saying if that
Would
was
you
how
rather
it worked?
Would you rather see the Jeep get IFS?
I
or
would
you
rather see the Jeep get IFS, so that all the Jeep people who talk about how they need solid front axles won't have anything to talk about anymore, and then they'll be very upset, and then they'll just all buy Broncos. I want to see that. What about you, Josh?
Well, I think each one has its place. I mean, for me personally, I like the solid axle, but it's because I feel it can get more articulation, keep the wheels on the ground, especially with the right suspension in it, and it's a little bit more robust too. So I think if you're really hardcore wheeling, I would take probably the Bronco with the shitty Dana 30, because the shitty Dana 30 can hold up pretty good. I've tested it myself. But that's because I don't care about ride quality either. So
Yeah. I would argue almost that like some IFS stuff like is stronger than a Dana 30. You know what I mean? Like
if it's built up stronger.
Like even from the factory, some like a GM 2500 front diffs are huge compared to like a Dana 30. You know what I mean? So I mean like just because it's IFS doesn't mean it's wimpy. You can have big heavy duty IFS stuff. Well, I mean look at CO2. It dragged the Archon truck across the parking lot and nothing broke on it, and that's wimpy IFS that everyone said was wimpy and it's going to break, and it didn't.
That's fair.
Well, the front end is lighter too.
Apparently, Jared's watching under a second name because he just said the only good Bronco is OJ's.
Like Junior's new license plate he's got for his old style Bronco. Not OJ, I think his license plate say.
Yep. Because he's J.O.
Oh.
Oh, yeah.
Never put that one together.
That's pretty good.
Okay. Oh, Zone 4.5-inch lift kit. Is that a good quality kit for $1,200?
For what vehicle?
2016 Sierra 1500.
Yeah, I would say it's a great lift kit for the money. The thing about Zone that's nice is they use 1/4-inch plate cross members, which is what you get with BDS. Rough Country only uses like 3/16-inch steel on their cross members, so you get like the beefy parts of a BDS kit. You just don't get their front replacement struts and fancier looking cross members. And you got to pay for like a front splash guard and stuff like that. So yeah, I think for the money, it's a really good kit.
So we have, for whatever reason, there's always a lot of questions about these trucks that don't even sell in the United States.
Yeah, why do we always get that? Like, is everyone watching this from like Europe or something?
Apparently.
Or Australia?
Are you gonna get Old Man Emu kits on the website?
Maybe that's a good one to look into because Old Man Emu is owned by ARB. I know that. But Old Man Emu, I mean, they do make Jeeps. It's not. People use it around here in the States, but it's still like not that popular. I mean, it's huge for Toyota stuff, like Land Cruisers, stuff like that. They make a lot of weirder kind of stuff that's just not as popular here. But they do make Jeep kits, but I feel like, I don't know, people with Jeeps. I've never seen a person like who has a Jeep that's like, oh man, I want this Old Man Emu kit. Like, no one really.
Yeah, it's
just like
Lexus, Toyota.
Yeah, I was gonna say I usually see.
It's super popular for
SUVs.
Yeah, it's like Toyota stuff. That's a huge brand in Australia for like suspension stuff. Everyone uses ARB and Old Man Emu stuff. So I don't know. It could be a viable thing, but still like the demand for it isn't there.
Yeah, and I think that would come down to marketing.
Yeah.
You know, just getting that brand awareness out there. If we did have the Emu kits that, you know, that we have them. I personally don't know who all carries Emu as far as some of the other competitors out there, but you know, my philosophy is if you don't have it, you can't sell it. So
that's fair.
Right, Brad?
So this is a really loaded question, but he's asked it a couple of times.
A lot of them are.
And it's kind of a good one to ask with you off-road guys here. Stephen Langley wants to know, what's the best way to trim for bigger wheel and tire fitment?
Like what kind of tools?
I have no idea what he
what's
means.
What's the best way to trim?
But like, let's say you got
plasma cutter.
88 XJ on some axles and some 40s, what are you going to do?
Well, if you got an XJ, it's probably not very nice to begin with. And you just cut it with a Sawzall anyway because it doesn't really matter what it looks like. And you just need to fit bigger tires, so who cares?
Yeah, I mean, I typically, in my experience, have used the air.
Cutoff wheel?
No. Well, cutoff wheel, yeah, actually. I have used the cutoff wheel, but either that or the air saw with the metal cutting blade, or like Brad said, a cutoff tool. Sawzalls can get a little tricky because they're, you know, you don't want to bang that.
They're not as precise.
They're not, yeah. So.
And gentle, and that's what Banker uses for everything.
Cutoff tool or air saw with a metal cutting bit on it.
I think, yeah, I would say like a cutoff, like a 4.5-inch angle grinder with a cutoff wheel is what I use.
Yeah, I usually use the 3-inch.
That's pretty much what I cut everything on my Escalade with.
Yeah.
But I didn't even cut enough. It's still need to cut a lot more.
You're going to have a little bit different trimming between a show truck and an off-road truck.
Yeah,
realistically.
Exactly. Like making it look presentable versus making it just get out of there.
Which is how you end up with mud and exhaust fumes on the inside of your Escalade.
Yeah.
That'll happen. Yeah.
Or inside the fender walls and everywhere else. And
They can hear.
They can hear that cricket.
I was wondering if they could hear the cricket.
Yes, there is a cricket. That's our pet cricket. His name is Petey.
Petey?
And he hangs out over there by Banker, and Banker talks to him.
Yeah, he hangs out behind Sean's truck, behind CO2, next to the garage door.
We should leave him a piece of pizza.
Well, he's calling for a mate right now is what he's doing, so.
Brad,
There's the mate.
Taylor wants to know what's the best 8-inch.
Taylor, your wife?
8-inch plus.
Hey, Taylor.
Is this your wife?
We're not married.
Okay, is this your?
Don't give her ideas.
Yeah, she already has that idea.
Best 8-inch lift kit for her shit box.
Okay, this sounds. Okay, yep, this is Taylor. Best 8-inch lift for her beautiful truck. Okay, we've already talked about this.
I told her she can't get a new truck or a new lift kit. She needs to run the rough country that's on there.
I told her to just get a new truck. I told her she shouldn't get a bigger lift kit because if you get a bigger lift kit, then she's going to get bigger wheels and tires, and then the truck's not even going to be able to turn them as it is because the truck barely runs. So I think that's a bad idea. But I think the best 8-inch kit has to be a Superlift King kit, the 8-inch King kit, because you can get 8 to 9 McGoys, but McGoys doesn't have coilovers.
And you look cool even if you have holes in your doors.
Yes. Yep.
Bailey.
Because everyone will be distracted by the blue King coilovers, and they'll just be staring at those, wondering what those things are, and then they'll never see the rust on your door bottoms or anything like that. So yeah, I think a Superlift King kit would be great.
It's a lot of lift.
Well, it already has 7 inches of lift.
Oh.
Fred, 7.5. It's rough country.
Oh well, okay, that was before they changed it.
Yeah, it's basically a 6-inch. David Leisure with the 04 F-150 that has the 8.5-inch lift with the 5th wheel that he pulls his camper with.
Yeah.
He wants to know how he can best send you some pictures of his setup.
I'll give you his phone number.
No. You can email them to info@customoffsets.com, and then I'll look at them and then be like, whoa, how does he do that?
Whoa.
Wow. That's a lot of lift.
Yeah, I don't know why the cricket stopped. I don't know. I think Josh stepped on him.
No, I fed him.
No,
Papa John's.
his mate came in.
Oh. Let's see here. Oh, does the lift kit for an 04 to 08 F-150 make the front wider? He doesn't want to have to run spacers in the rear.
F-150 kits never really. I can't think of one that makes the track width any wider. Can you?
No, they do not.
Yeah.
Ford CV axle style doesn't increase track width at all.
I think it has to do with the knuckle design.
Well,
That's
because
really what
you
it
can't
has to do with
space
it.
out the different. You can't space out the front axles because they're the slip yoke style.
Oh, are they?
Yeah, they're not a bolt-in.
Oh.
That's why the new 19 to 20 GM 1500 trucks don't increase track width either.
Oh, I never thought of that. Okay, that makes sense.
Can't space them out, they don't bolt on.
You would think by like some of the pictures you even see, they're sort of deceiving because it makes it look like sometimes the front end is wider than what the back end is.
For off-roading, most four-wheel drive trucks do have a different track width front to rear.
Yeah, a lot of the times, yeah.
And that only gets amplified when you get the wheels outside the wheel well, and you can actually see the difference.
More.
All right, guys, we're gonna do one more question, and then we're gonna shut her down here. So, give me something good.
Yeah, give him a good one. Real good question. The hard stuff.
The real hard stuff.
Make it really personal. Taylor's gonna comment and be like, "When are you gonna buy me? When can I buy a Gucci bag or Louis bag?"
Yeah, don't even. All right, here we go. This is the one.
Here it is.
Nemesis for Josh.
Is this
Josh
the-
specific question.
The Expedition
Wait,
one?
which Josh?
Yes, it is.
The
How would-
2000 Expedition?
How would you lift
Oh boy.
an IFS IRS
Ah.
2009 Expedition to get 37s under it?
Okay, you can answer that.
Yeah.
I mean, I have an answer in my head. Smart as.
I mean, I would go to trailbuiltoffroad.com and I would hit suspension tab and then punch in your vehicle's information. No, I'm just kidding. So I don't know exactly who makes a kit for that, if it's Icon.
I don't think no one makes a kit for this.
The first one I would think of in my head is Icon Vehicle Dynamics, because they do make a lot of really high quality kits for all different kinds of independent suspension vehicles, and if they don't have one available, solid axle swap, but besides that, the cheap route, the easiest route would be spacers above the struts. That would be probably my next best recommendation, if there's even something like that available. But then it does mess with your geometry of your control arms, and then you got tire wear and alignment issues, so that's a tough one. That's a good one. I'd probably sell it and go like with a Ford Excursion.
There we go.
Yeah.
That's the real answer that you were looking for.
That is the real answer.
So, yeah, they don't make anything for those trucks really, suspension lift wise, which I'm assuming you found out and that's why you're asking us. If you really are dead set on fitting 37s, either just bolt them on there and then we get the Sawzall out like we talked about before, and you just cut to
air cutter tool, or
cut to your heart content.
Die grinder.
Yep, whatever cutting tool of your choice. Make them fit, or you solid axle swap it, and you can do a whole custom suspension setup, and then you can have an Excursion or Expedition on 37s.
It's pretty much
simple.
like Cadillac Brad's Escalade here.
Yeah.
I mean, except for the Cadillac had a solid rear axle, but
except they actually make lift kits for Escalades, so
doesn't help
it's
much.
a little different.
A little different.
But yeah, you should just solid axle swap it. I think that's the best solution.
But it's a great question. Excellent question.
Yeah, that was good. All right, guys, so that's going to wrap it up for today. Remember, they're trying to keep it short and sweet. Josh wants to go home and wax his Audi. So,
not this Josh.
Other Josh.
Video
behind
the
camera.
Josh.
Yeah,
Other Josh.
behind the camera. Other Josh. I forget. Yeah. Anyway.
I'm Josh from Trailbuilt.
Remember, wheels, tires, suspension, customoffsets.com, offroad stuff, trailbuilt.com. Go out and subscribe to Trailbuilt's Off-Road YouTube to see some really sweet off-road action. And I believe me and Brad will see you guys next week. Let us know what you want us to talk about. Later.
Thanks for having us on. Thanks for having Trailbuilt. We'll see you guys.